Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. All right, guys. It is CPI today. Oh, my light is still not on. Let's fix that. We got CPI coming up here in about 2.5 minutes, and this one is anticipated to be a doozy. I'm not going to go through all of the charts and everything. Treasuries are up a little bit from yesterday. The anticipation is that the CPI numbers will come in lower than anticipated. Also, let me come over here. We're also getting retail sales at the same time. That's expected to be spot 2, and that is expected to come in weak as well. So I haven't necessarily seen a ton of bets going into it. That was a huge iceberg at 09.5, though. That does kind of have me like, maybe I shouldn't touch this. I wanted to come in and take a trade off of this. I don't know if I actually will. But the market expects this to be weak, and that would mean treasuries up, equities up. All right. So if the initial reaction is not that, look out. But you know, even though I guess there's a little bit of front running it here this morning, you would think, oh, okay, that means that a lot of it is priced in, and that when the number comes up, we won't go as far. I would not make that assumption. This could just run. This could be like so we're at 4.41, and it wouldn't surprise me to see us at like 4.2 if we get the numbers that the analysts have kind of been arguing for. So let's just see. There's the pull. Actually a little thicker than some of the other ones, but it's still light. I don't know if that matters. Okay, I'm not gonna trade it. Just saw a huge sweep in the micros. I'm not going to mess with that. Okay, so I saw a little bit both ways. Okay, CPI year over year in line 3.4. Holy shit. US CPI month over month spot 4. Okay, so we were at 405. Somebody swept. We are now 4.35, so we have already moved 5 basis points on that move. Oh man, that did move. Okay, so let's see here. CPI year over year was in line. Retail sales was 0 versus an expected spot 4. Wowzers. Wowzer. U.S. core retail sales month over month spot 2 versus spot 2. The GameStop has been halted 20 times. The market is, quote, fair. Well, it is fair. Let me explain to you why it is fair. The reason that GameStop gets halted is because the exchange has a rule where they determine what the average price is over the last 5 minutes. That is to say, they take the price of every order that's been executed in the last 5 minutes, and they take the arithmetic mean of that, and then they set a price band of 5% in either direction around that. So if the asset moves more than 5% during that window, then the market will get halted. And that applies for whether or not it is a buy or a sell. So if you buy GameStop up too fast, they're going to halt it. If you sell it down too fast, you're going to stop it. We are all under the same rules here. We should, if you're trading this, you should know what the rules are. You should know what the circuit breakers and the halts are. All right. So it is fair. The rules have been set ahead of time. We're all, what is the word that I'm looking for? We're all under the same rules here, man. We're all under the same rules. The real issue here is retail traders coming in and trading it and not knowing how the circuit breaker works, so that they can come in and say, oh, you know, we're up 5% in the last minute. I shouldn't buy it here because they're going to halt it. I should wait. Like, come on, man. You're not even playing with half the deck here. It's like going in and trying to play hearts and not knowing all of the rules about shooting the moon and taking the queen and all of that, right? Just always putting the lowest card that you have out. Because you can make off. Okay, so if somebody makes an off exchange trade while it's halted, so what? Honestly. So it's not like I can go and I make an off exchange trade and then that's going to force the stock lower. Well, it doesn't work like that, right? There's a buyer and seller for everything. I found somebody elsewhere that was willing to make the trade for me. That doesn't really affect you in the actual asset. Other than that, like maybe you sold it, some block trader is going to turn around and sell it to you later. If you can act off exchange, you can act period. Listen, if you are not able to take the position in GameStop that you want, there's something wrong with you. Okay, because there is plenty of opportunity to catch whatever price you want. Look, it's total bullshit. I'm telling you, what's going on right now, people are fucking lying to you out there. And you all are falling for it. Even people that should know better. Just trying to be honest with you guys, you're falling for it. What you're doing is you're pushing this narrative that, oh, it's unfair, so that more people will get more upset. It will gain even more engagement, and they can convince even more people to jump in on this hysteria. Frankly, it's a hysteria, right? We're all under the same rules. If you're trading on exchange and the exchange price moves more than 5%, it gets halted. You should know that if you're trading it. And that's not why GameStop is moving up or down. All the halts do is delay the inevitable. That's why I don't really think that the halts really accomplishes the goal that they set out to do. All it does is reduce market liquidity and delay price discovery. Okay, for who does the rule exist and who can still act around the rule? Well, I mean, so the rule is for the exchange. Explain to me, why does it matter that somebody can go off exchange and still trade? Why does that? Why do you care? What do you think is happening that you don't think would happen if they were forced to trade it on the exchange? I'm telling you, the result would be the same. Because all of these off exchange trades eventually make it over onto the exchange anyways. It's just a reason for people to whip you up and get upset. But it doesn't change anything. No, I don't think that's accurate at all. So Uzi says the rule is so major highly leveraged participants can protect themselves from violent swings, while everyone else who can't act can pay the ones who can. That's not the way that it works. You're tiny. There is not, okay, you're not trading billions of dollars here. You can unload your entire, inventory of GameStop stock at any price you want. I mean, you're just taking the I mean, this is like the most base level, right? So again, okay, the halt means no trading on the exchange. Well, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, oh, you can't do transactions with each other. Basically, what you're saying is that all trading in securities should be a monopoly given to the New York Stock Exchange. That's bullshit, dude. Like, that's first of all, that wouldn't be constitutional. Okay, you can't tell people, oh, you have to trade on the exchange. That doesn't make any sense. But you're getting around the question, which is what would be different for you? Because what people are saying is, oh, if they weren't able to trade it off exchange, then they would have to do it over here, and they would be buying it over here to cover their shorts, and then we would be getting the mother of all short squeezes, and it would be much higher than it is. It's bullshit. That's total bullshit. That is not accurate. Nothing would be different. In this ideal world of yours, where they have thrown the Constitution away and force you to only trade on the exchange, the price would not be any different. That's not accurate either. I mean, the rule exists with an outcome to results in one set of participants being able to participate and one set being able to not. Okay, so yeah, you can't participate in that little 5 to 10 minute window where price is basically frozen anyways, right? Wait until the halt is over. I mean, come on. Again, the price isn't going to be any different, man. Like what's going on here is, retail traders, they're all FOMO, and it's like, oh, I want to buy it here at, 5% up. And then the exchange says, oh, no, hold on. You have to wait 5 minutes. And you can't wait the 5 minutes. It's like, dude, if you wanted to buy it like right there at the 5%, when you should have known that they were about to halt it, then why don't you want to buy it 10 minutes later? That doesn't make any sense. You're trying to claim that there is some sort of systematic disadvantage against you when there isn't. The only reason that y'all upset is because you can't do it exactly the way that you want to do it. But again, the end result is going to be the same. If you're trading in GameStop, you're probably going to lose money. Because this is just the way that it is. I mean, a key point for me to bring up here is that a lot of this kind of narrative that is being pushed on you by these people is because they believe that GameStop is being naked short sold, right? They think that there is a massive amount of naked short selling in GameStop, that there's more than 100% of the shares out there actually short, yada, 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 yada. So they think that the halts prevent them from actually creating the big short squeeze that they believe, without any evidence, is destined to happen. Well, retail traders have the information and access, and they lack the capital and knowledge. I mean, here's the thing: is I always thought, okay, well, there's some problems in the market, and so what we got to do is we got to educate people, and if people understand these things, then maybe we can get some changes, and we can fix those parts of the system where there's actually a problem, and we can actually get smart answers to some of these problems. But what I've discovered is that people are just too fucking stupid. That's never going to happen. They would rather latch onto outrage and conspiracy theories than actually try and understand these things and how they affect them. So we'll always be in this situation. So this is why I say, like, if you're a hedge fund, you're going to do whatever it is that makes you the most money. And why wouldn't you? It's not like if you come in and you decide to take a little bit, to not trade your best and leave some for the other people, like that, the average Joe is actually going to make money from it. It's not, because the problem is that the average Joe is just never going to do the work to be able to actually make money from it. Right? It's like, I could leave some on the table today. That's fine. He'll just lose it tomorrow. Any retail trader could move the easy end. Well, that GameStop is so light, just about anybody can move GameStop too. That's kind of part of the wild thing about it too. It's a work that keeps us from managing. Oh, okay. That's a completely different argument, right? If you had the capital and you trade in a different way, that'd be something different. Nothing you can do about that. It's nature, man. Success breeds success. That's nature. You can't. That's nature, and that's reality, and that will never change. There's no amount of rules that you can never put in there that will completely, you can try and even the game out. You can make sure that the game is fun for everybody. I think that the problem that we have today is that the game has become very unfun for a large section of people. That a certain section of people have become too dominant at the game, perhaps. But you're never going to have an equal playing field. Somebody's always going to have some advantage or another based on what the rules are. And those people that have success because of those rules will just build upon that success. And the people that don't will just stay there. That's nature. That's why there's 6 billion humans on this planet and not snails or something. I don't know what's a dodos. That's why there's 8 billion people on the planet and dodos are extinct. Okay, success builds success. You're right. Is it 8 now? What's Captain Price playing? I plugged into the DisplayPort 1 into DisplayPort 2, and I think it killed my video card. Oh, really? Oh, that's good. That would be unusual for that to kill your video card, unless it's a really, really, really old video card. Okay, you know what? I gave my big rant. I think I made my point. I do have some food to eat. I am not happy with the prices that I'm getting. So, 6 basis point move. Oh, actually, no. I said we could be at. We were at 4. Yeah. Okay. We were at 4, and I said, hey, we could get to 2. We're at 4.36 right now, so 4 basis points down. I don't know if there's anything I can do with that. So we're gonna eat some food, look at it again. I don't know, Captain Price. That doesn't sound quite right. Does your motherboard have a built-in video card? Have you tried connecting into the built-in video card? That would then allow you to, you know, actually see things and look and try and debug why the video card's not working. Your onboard video card doesn't work? That's not right. Maybe you have it turned off in the BIOS. But, you know, if you can actually load the thing up, then you can go into the device manager and go into that device, and then it will say, oh, there's some sort of error, and then you know that it's dead. A 970 dying, that's too new of a card for that to be dead. I have a 7 series card that I have been running every day since they came out, basically. And it still runs just fine. And 970s came out like 4 years later than that. Wow, well, I don't know how many years it was, but yeah, this just seems highly unlikely. It's not impossible, but it just seems unlikely. Right? Like I would really, you know, find a way to open it up and debug it and confirm that it's really actually dead and that it's not something like that your cable just shorted out or something weird like that. Biden accepted a debate. Is this like some debate outside of the official debate committee or something? I have to look that up. Well, no debate. So then you're just saying that he's just confirming that he will participate in the actual debates put together by the committee for debates that they do every election. Oh, okay. 6 jump cuts in 11 seconds. Man, I don't know what to do. I really thought that I was going to come in here and make a trade off of this, but it happened too fast. It happened too fast. Like look at the so if I come in here and I look at this, right? Sometimes we've had moves that are like, Joop, and then like, and then kind of like this sort of thing, right? And that's the one that's like, oh, I can get in here and yada. But this one is just straight up. So I really don't think that I could have traded any of this, and I don't want to take the kickback. So I guess I could have bought it back here, but I didn't really see anything to be like that's where it was going to turn or anything. So no, that's not TA. That's not me using TA. Would be because it did this and now this has happened, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. No, like TA is I saw this thing and that means that X thing is likely to happen. No, come on, I'm on one. No, you can't mess with me today. I'm already on one, aren't I? Anyways, I'm a little bit weary about trading this now. Kind of feel like we're like into just noise territory, and I don't know. Because here's the other thing, is that especially factoring in that retail sales, this should be. Am I being too aggressive with my language there? I don't think I am. This should be a trend day. And the action that I am seeing is not like a trend day. Otherwise, it would be like, okay, we just buy it here and hope that we don't get a bad pullback. I don't know. I don't know what to do. All right. ASEAN jumping up there well into new highs. Basically erasing the dismal CPI report from last month. But I would say that this is a much more significant miss along with all of the other data that we're getting. So I can totally see us going well above 26.5. ES jumping up there. Oil. Oil did rise, but they're not, they haven't erased the downside that they had in the overnight yet. Gold and silver, they seem to be jumping up into, especially silver there, new territory. Kappa falling here a little bit. Probably really didn't like that. New York Fed manufacturing at negative 15.6 versus negative 10. Japanese yen. Okay, so there was an appreciable rise in the Japanese yen, but it's just kind of like a teeny tiny little blip compared to some of this other stuff that we're seeing. So, or, you know, the intervention. So I don't know if that's significant. The dollar falling here. Finally losing that 105. And Bitcoin rising as well today. So some of these charts we're going to have to come back and look at, like daily charts. Okay, so we are above the, is that the 200 day? Yes, it is. It's the 200 day. And ES, new all-time highs would be at 53.32. Oh, that's just a hop and a skip away. They could very easily make that today. They could very easily make that today. Wow. Okay. Well. So, coming in over here, let's take some notes here. CPI week, retail sales week, New York Fed manufacturing
Block sell
week, Fed's bar 8 o'clock, crude oil. So we've got Kashkari and Bowman later. Doesn't look like there's any bond auctions today. I don't know, this decline here is a little wild. Oil inventory.
block sell
Okay, so that's my synopsis. All of the data was weak. Surprised. This is a situation where you could see a possible trend day up. Problem is, I am not actually seeing that in the flows. Let's say, lots of data. Let's add in here. Weak data was expected and front run a bit. So we could say could be possible trend day up, but need to be careful of profit takers. So what we're seeing now could be that. That decline though don't make much sense to me. Oh, did that whole time I didn't even have the right screen up. I'll put that up there for a second so you can see that in case you're trying to read it. Okay, so it looks like on GameStop there was some more attempt to spike it up overnight, but that seems to have largely failed, and they are looking to open around 42 right now. But you know, they still got 30 minutes. That could be an icky situation, because if we get below that like 35 from yesterday, right, you could start seeing some wider puking. And I am kind of something that I think people would need to be concerned about is that, like, there's all of those options from, like, what was it, 34, 36? I forget what the exact price was. That, you know, that was like all of the options up until that point, and they were all profitable. And, you know, there's kind of going to be a tendency to get pinned to those sorts of things, or for those guys to not actually win, and for it to get below that before Friday. And so them kind of eyeing it here on Wednesday is not good for the bulls. Not good for the bulls. The Treasury's coming back here. It has me a little bit
Block buy.
surprised. Okay, so there's a buy there. It's actually the same place there was a big buy, a big sell earlier. So looks like at the moment you got a VWAP bounce. For them to come all the way back to the cost basis, they'd have to come back to 11.5. I don't think that that's likely to happen. Trying to decide if those two ticks are significant to me or not. The liquidity in the micros kind of has me a little bit on edge, because there's only like 3s and 5s on the inside, and then the larger market maker is holding a wider spread. So, you know, if the market maker is concerned about it, I got to be a little bit careful about what I do here. Especially since we are closer to those big offers than we are those big bids. I also find that odd. See, I was thinking 3.6 and it's already too late. And I'm a little worried about that 22.5. Let's just kind of, yeah, they're being a little shy about it. Okay. Huh. I'm going to look away from it for a little bit. I didn't like that. The way that it kind of, they played it there. So they were kind of making a push, and then we just had a significant tick down. Like, kind of fell. Yeah, you know what, guys? I don't think I can do this. It's just I should be seeing a fairly steady rise in cumulative delta, but over the last 10 minutes or so, it's been flat, and I'm kind of seeing shenanigans in the book. It really kind of feels to me like, this number was anticipated and there are some big guys taking profits, and like that, people are trying to buy it here and are getting buried. Like, okay, so they're just 2 more ticks down on, 900 and then 600 contracts at 21. That's not the kind of, man, you don't want to take a position when it can move like that against you so quickly on nothing, right? Like, that's just not, especially when earlier they traded like a 7K. They traded a 7K iceberg just above that, and then they slipped through that. That's kind of nasty trading, man. What the hell is IRTFC levels? It's in my indicators for Ninja Trader 8, but I don't ever remember downloading it. Yeah. That's the indicator that shows you like the highs and lows of the day, week, and month. For being able to show you basically what's going on in multiple time frames. And then I think it draws like a... Yeah, that's one we made. That was one that we made with John. And there was two of them. There was a levels one, and then I don't know what the other one was called, but there was like a ribbon one. There was a ribbon that would show you blue or orange for each of them, you know, whether they were up or down, and you'd wait for the whole ribbon to be green or the whole ribbon to be red before you would do something. To say all time frames are in confluence now. Oh, do I have them combined? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you have to IR TFC and IR TFC levels. Yep. I would expect that if you're trading ES that they're all green right now. You got basically every time frame now saying long. Yeah, well, it's been, I mean, that was like 2020, right? When we were messing with that. It's been 4 years. So I could understand why you'd forget about it. What were you looking for at that moment? What I don't understand your question. In 2020 or today? Man, I just can't believe they were all the way back to 18. Something's off. Oh, what are you looking for at the moment? Okay, good question. So here's our analysis of the flows. So we had CPI was weak, retail sales was weak, New York Fed manufacturing was weak. We do have some Fed speakers later today that will comment on the data. We also have the oil inventory. And we should note that there was a little bit of a run up overnight in the treasuries specifically before that weak data. So there did appear to be some people like placing bets before the news happened. So based on that, we should expect to see pretty consistent flows long, but some profit taking as well. And so I'm looking for signs that we're getting a trend day and that we're going to reach the highs of the day. And as I was thinking about trading it, we fell back to this 20 zone, which is kind of not what I'm looking for, right? So basically, the flows that I'm getting are not what I was anticipating. There seems to be some flattening going on here. Let's recenter some things, but if I come back over here and I look at what are the spreads doing, maybe it has something to do with the spreads. Well, the spread was steepening at first, and now it's flattening. And that doesn't make sense to me, because if we're going up and the Federal Reserve is going to lower interest rates, and or we need to start being concerned about a recession if we don't lower interest rates quickly enough, that should mean steepening. That should mean steepening, and it's not steepening right now. So from both sides that I look at it, it's not doing what I want, and so I have kind of given up on the trade, to be honest with you. I've decided that trade is not working out. Something else is happening. And so now I'm in the mode of trying to figure out what it is. Looking for any kind of switch in the correlations, any kind of additional piece of information, color commentary, etc., to help me understand why the flows are what they are right now. Because they're not what I was anticipating. But this is a good, it's a good example of, oh, okay, so we didn't take, I really wanted to take a trade today. I kind of feel like it's been too many days since I've taken a trade, but it's just not working out in accordance with the plan. So what you gonna do, right? been out of the markets mostly for the past 2 weeks. I've seen the CPI, but why are the odds for a rate cut in July so high after they were under 50 in April? Okay, yeah. So let's read a few things here first. Okay. Okay, so let's read the Zero Hedge story. I was just checking all of their headlines. There's a couple of stories that were kind of interesting there, but I think that those were all from before CPI. Okay. After a fourth straight month of hotter than expected PPI, analysts' expectations for CPI were tightly ranged around 3 to 4% month over month and printed at spot 3% month over month, slightly below the spot 4% expected. The year over year headline also fell to 3.4% as expected from 3.5% prior. So wait, hold on a second. Month over month, spot 3 versus spot 4. 4 month over month, spot 3 versus spot 3. Yes, but retail sales was really bad. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was bigger than that, but I'm just remembering wrong because it was too fast. Okay. That sent stocks soaring and oh no, wait. Okay. Under the hood, services slowed modestly month over month. On a 3-month and 6-month annualized basis, energy costs are reaccelerating the most. Used car and truck prices, along with gas utility prices, plunged on a month over month basis. Core CPI rose spot 3%. Core goods deflation continues while core services continues to rise. Housing, rent, and OAR contributed around 17.5 basis points to monthly core inflation in April. While still hot, it's the lowest monthly contribution since December 2021, and we show in the chart year-over-year housing is in CPI is cooling. Virtually all of the excess core CPI inflation year-over-year, the part of inflation above and beyond the Fed target, resulted from housing and auto insurance. Core non-housing services have heated up on a higher frequency basis, but haven't been weighing much yet on the annual print. Also, while not in core but extremely important for anyone who eats food, grocery prices actually fell spot 2%. We doubt anyone will believe this number, which was goal-seeked so that if the wage growth would strongly outpace grocery inflation relative to wages, grocery prices are back down below their 2019 levels. This too won't be believed by anyone. That's what the numbers say, though. Okay. And one step deeper, the so-called super core CPI services X shelter rose spot 5%. Oh. Okay, so that's what I was worried about. Maybe that's what's going on here. We note that consumer prices have not fallen in a single month since President Biden's term began, which leaves overall prices up 19.5% since Bidenomics was unleashed, and prices have never been more expensive. That's an average of 5.5% per year. And finally, and most notably, it was a miss, but not for the reason expected. It was a miss, but the OER catch down still to kick in. Next few CPI prints will be a dovish meltdown. Which means the next few months' CPIs will be even bigger misses. But they're saying because of the housing component. Okay. So I would still, especially because of the retail sales, I actually kind of think that the retail sales was like a bigger miss, right? This is 0 versus an expected spot 4. When we come back over here, they have core retail sales too, right? Core retail sales was in line. Okay. So that is kind of putting a little hint of, okay, maybe it's not that bad. So that might be part of why it's coming back so hard. Maybe this is not a situation where I should be looking for a trend day. But then that kind of puts me into what next? Is it just noise from here on out? Well, let's keep an eye. I do think we could see more stuff happening in the yield curve. I'm kind of weirded out by the yield curve flattening there, because I would want to see it steepen. So let's just continue to try and pay attention, and we might see some larger flow come in here after the S&P 500 is open, right? Okay, well, now that stocks are open, we can kind of come in here and look, and we can see that GameStop did open just below 42. Did they already halt it? Let's pull up Fidelity so that I can see when the volume is coming through and all of that stuff. It looks halted to me, though. Seeing some selling in TLT. It is indeed halted. Last year, CPI dropped really hard for March, April. Another drop this year for March, April seems like a big discrepancy given how it's stickied and slowly raised in a bit in the last month. Yeah, so Zero Hedge has a bunch of stories about how the seasonal adjustments work and how that could potentially affect the data and everything. So I'll leave that to you to go and pile through, because it's like really complicated. But there's definitely some things with seasonal adjustments and so forth going on. So like ZB, the cumulative delta is lower than from where it opened, and in ZN we're pretty close to where it was. So like I'm the flows that I'm seeing here are net sells since the news. That could just be profit taking, but it is not indicative of the trend day that I was looking for to possibly take in here. And when we come back and we look at yields, we have come back up a basis point, I guess. Because we were at some point like 3.55. I was looking at 3.6 at some points. Wow, it's actually, the interest rates are actually not that sensitive. But now we're at 3.7. Slovakia's populist Prime Minister Robert Fico has been shot. He has been outspoken against deepening Western involvement in the Ukraine war. Okay. Spot 1% miss in headline CPI and continued slowing in core CPI was all the algos needed to buy all the things. No, there was core retail sales too. The initial reaction to this morning's data was a surge in rate cut expectations, 2 cuts fully priced back in for 2024 and more than 3 cuts priced in for 2025. That sent stocks soaring and treasury yields tumbling, with the 10-year erasing all of its increase since the last CPI print. Gold is rising from its pre-April CPI level. Dollar dived back towards its pre-April CPI. Bitcoin rose on the cool CPI. Of course, it's still early in the day. Now, I was looking for, maybe we just need to go to the CME group. CMEgroup.com/interest rates. Tools. CME Fed Watch. Pull it over here. And when we look for, which one are we looking at? June. Wait, current 425 to 550. Okay, so I'm not seeing a change in June, although maybe it's just not showing me on this yet. Might be better to look tomorrow. But then we get to 28%. Once we get to September, I would think that it would be greater, yeah. Then they say in September that there's a rate cut. So I think that we should keep an eye out for possible speculation that they cut interest rates before September, okay? Because some of that data is kind of looking kind of weak. I think that my initial read of it was like a little bit too, you know, it was like, oh, that's super weak. This is like just buy all the things, yada, you know, a recession. But no, it was, you know, it was weak, but it wasn't that weak. So. What's this? I'm reading the story now that some people are saying that we need to socialize 401ks. Are you kidding me? Nearly half of Americans aged 55 to 65 reported not having a single dollar saved in personal retirement accounts, according to U.S. Census data. Are you kidding me? By the way, oh, this is curious. Oil, like everything else, jumped initially on the report, but has since reversed and moved lower. You know what? I think that's correct. That you know, that might have been a good trade for the guys in oil, which is like, okay, so like weak economic data means rate cuts coming. That's good for bond prices. That's good for the stock market, generally speaking, looser financial conditions. Okay, but for oil specifically, is that good? Well, the knee-jerk reaction was it was good, but I think actually it means no, not good. That means less use, less demand. And so oil reversed and went lower. That is interesting. Everything else pretty much looks like in line. Well, Bitcoin extended a little bit further. But, you know, Bitcoin always just does whatever the heck it feels like. $18. So I'm curious. I would have thought that some of you guys that love the volume profile levels would be speaking up now, but you're not. We are at the bottom. We are at the value area, so this is a place where some people would be looking for support. The more that I look at this, like, I think that there could be a bounce in here somewhere. I don't know if it's going to be off of that, but there could be a bit of a bounce here. But the problem is, like, are they going to, like, bounce and go back up to highs? I don't think that they are. I think that that's much less likely scenario than I thought it was going to be at the start of the day. So there might be a trade, but I don't know if it's really worth the risk here. And I am, if we look at so this will be an interesting test. I would say that generally speaking, that like our cost basis indicator would not necessarily be super useful here. But with what I'm seeing print and everything, it looks okay. So if we come back to 12, then that's going to be a really big feather in the cap of the cost basis indicator. But I don't. That seems too far to me. Seems too far away. And the yield curve is still flattening. And I'm not seeing any change in the flows. These first 15 minutes of the S&P 500. So I know Octavius was waiting for, the S&P 500 to open and see what TLT would do, but they just kind of continued the selling from before, so I don't know. Nick Timmeros. I don't think there is anything groundbreaking here, but Wall Street Journal Fed watcher Nick Timmeros is out with a report on what the April CPI report means for the Fed. It will allow the Fed to hold more comfortably in June. It will likely take another 2 reports to shore up officials' confidence that inflation is heading to target. The Fed might not be ready to cut before September. The report is likely to tamp down on fears that the Fed would shift to a more neutral stance from dovish. Okay. Interesting. You're getting inside bars. Eric Waller seems saying that some of these things are unlikely to translate into PCE. Roaring Kitty's still posting memes. Kind of feel like this guy's become a clown. I kind of feel like just going all in on everybody involved with GameStop is stupid, full elitist on the GameStop thing. Because, like the issue that I have here is that I sympathize with some of the larger ideas and goals of some of these guys, but they're just wrong on specific points. Then it just kind of ruins everything else that they say, and so that does kind of put me on the elitist side of things, I guess. And if I just went full bore on it, would that like give me rage engagement and all of that sort of a thing? I think it would. I feel that if you have a large following, even with the, I have a mild following, and I'm very, very conscious all the time about what I say, how that's going to affect other people, what they might do based on what I say. I try to take it very, very seriously. And of course, you're going to make mistakes, but it's a really serious responsibility. And when I look at what Roaring Kitty is doing here, I kind of feel like he does not take that responsibility seriously at all. I bet you that if he was here and I was talking to him, he would just say, "Oh, we're just posting memes." He wouldn't recognize it as a serious thing, you know? Wow, this is a big bid there at 16. That was... Hold on. Was that there earlier and I just kind of missed it? It's a 16. Strangely enough, I haven't seen... No, it must have been there before. I just didn't notice it. Because I haven't seen large stacking and pulling since we were up here at 23. So, okay. Octavius is going short for it now. Yes, you waited for it to break out of the value area before going for it, huh? Well, let's see if they make it to the 11.5, 12 area where the cost basis is. If you're wondering where that's at. The Japanese yen has almost completely retraced this move. Love the GameStop bag holders. No one to blame but themselves, and they never learn when to sell and dump. Yeah. Did you know? I saw this thing. Apparently, the Super Stonk subreddit believes that they own 25% of GameStop collectively. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. Because I don't think that subreddit is even, a fraction of the true apes out there, And I do think that people are going to lose money on this. So like the people that were in at like 10 and 20, and especially the ones that had options, they're probably going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I hope that they sold yesterday morning, but even if they didn't, they're probably still going to make decent amounts of money, right? But all of these other general retail traders that are just buying regular shares, they're probably going to get left high and dry. Like, because the liquidity is just not there to take profits, right? When any of these guys, so options expiration, that's one thing because you just have to hold it to expiration. But after the expiration happens, and then the market makers rebalance their books and you get like an unclenching, they're probably going to sell shares. I think that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week could be like a real bloodbath. And probably all of these retail traders that are getting in are going to be left holding the bag. Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen. And they have no one to blame but themselves, because anybody that tries to inject any amount of reality into the situation is immediately downvoted. Like, it's crazy. Was on the subreddit, people were railing about the halt. So the government are halting the stocks so that we can't squeeze it, yada yada. No, it's an exchange rule. It happens because you're triggering the circuit breaker. And if anybody says that, you just get downvoted. Like, they don't want to know how the circuit breaker works. You'd think that they would go, oh, okay, here's a rule. We need to play within the rules. Let's optimize our actions And if we think that the halt is bad for us, then we need to space out our buying pressure so that we don't move it so quickly. Right? They don't. They don't care. They just monkey buy. Stupid. Stupid. They're going to lose their shirts. And more broadly, this like mother of all shorts sort of thing that they believe, it's nonsense. You're telling me that like there's these prime brokers holding shorts on shares that they don't own, and that they've been holding that for like years and years? Come freaking on, guys. Like there's compliance departments and all sorts of employees, lots of people that can see those numbers. Okay, if that went more than a day or two, you know, people would start yapping. People would start, that would be like the story of the century. Not of the century, but you know, it'd be a pretty big story. I'm sure that a lot of journalists would love to pay you if you could prove that that was happening, right? There's no way. There's just no way. There can be like on an intraday basis. Yeah, because they don't say, oh, well, we're not going to let you sell it because we don't have them yet. They just say, oh, well, we'll find them, right? We'll figure it out. They just do the trade, and they let the back office figure it out, and the back office does figure it out. There was another downtick. I don't know. I tell you what, man. If they get to 12, I'm going to be really surprised. Seems kind of, you know, like just seems kind of way further than I thought. Now, here's another thing. Oh, if they do get to the 12, I kind of have to wonder if they don't go to 10, just because of, you know, the space in the profile there, right?
Block sell.
Oh, geez, man. So now I'm thinking about this, like, should I be short? But I don't think so, because I don't think that any of my edges that can predict flows would actually tell me to go short here, right? Everything that I have kind of suggests maybe you should go long if you find a good spot. Now, there was some big orders that came out there, so that might pause things for a little bit. But the way that I do things, I like to get out on those big orders. I don't think I would, you know, that cost basis, I don't have any reason to believe that that's actually like likely to get touched. So but I do have some edge that suggests that with what we just saw there around 14.5, 15, that we're going to get stuck there, and that's a good profit taking place. So I would probably be getting out. But let's see what happens. Oh, there's an update available for my pen. Let's look at that. You got Octavius did get out. Okay, well, that was a good trade, dude. I don't know if I can, you know, maybe have just been luck of the draw, but like that couldn't have gone better for you. So. Now the pen is just minor bug fixes. I'm not getting any of those weird problems though with it, so that's cool. Oh, so here was Nick Timoros when he tweeted, "One good print can't offset 3 unfavorable ones. It may take a couple more for officials to get over the PTSD of the Q1 inflation. It reduces the risk of any shift to a neutral bias, i.e. opens the door to hikes." Okay. DC now requires daycare teachers to have college degrees supposedly so they're better equipped. Okay, yeah, great. That will really reduce the cost of childcare. I don't know if I really want to rant about feminism and all that sort of stuff today. Do you want me to rant? I guess if you guys really want me to, I can rant about it, but I think unless you say something, I'll not pass. Well, sure enough, it is still just stuck here. So that's interesting. What's with those stacks at 16 now? So there was big bids when we went into 16. Now there's big offer. Oh my gosh, for real? What? Maybe I need to stop browsing Reddit because like some of the stuff that I see is just like crazy. I don't know, like, okay, it's an interesting story. I'll share it with you. There's a person. She says, "I talked my mom out of an abortion in February. Her baby is 6 months old now and was just removed from her family's custody by DCS. And unfortunately, it was probably a justified removal. But this family put me down as next preferred placement for the baby. Dude, me? No. I do way too much For this work already, a 6-month-old will break me, destroy my marriage and physical health. I just can't? For real? Like, it was, so first of all, I can't believe that anybody would be so selfish. Like, freaking, man, if something happened to my siblings, I would take their kid, no questions asked. Whatever was required. I just can't, man. It's time for Uzi, stop. I'm not gonna read that one out. Oh my gosh. People are putting this up as, oh well, they should have aborted the baby. Man, that's so messed. That whole thing is messed up. But it's just engagement baiting, isn't it? Like. I have a friend, and on Instagram they posted some guy. He was giving a commencement address, and in his commencement address, he exhorted the women to consider becoming homemakers. And she was very upset that he would tell them that to go and just be homemakers. Now she's kind of concerned about this thing that's like, well, you put your whole living on your husband, and then he divorces you, and you're screwed. It's a real issue. For the people that are conservative and they really want to be homemakers, the chances of that happening is a lot less, but it does happen. It's a real concern. But I can't get on board with we need to discourage women from doing that. That's messed up too. They're making it extremely hard to play the fill-in of the damaged liquidity from the print. Yeah, well, I would say that at this point, the liquidity shouldn't necessarily be damaged, at least from the perspective that we look at it empirically and all of that sort of stuff. But there is definitely this thing of, like, single prints. Like, you know, when you get to the end of the single prints, there's always a reaction. I don't know if there's anything to that, but it doesn't seem like they have the oomph to do it, does it? Anyways, so she was she posted that, and there were so many more comments on that post than she usually gets. Oh my gosh, it was I was a little taken back by it. I didn't have a chance to read all of the comments to see what arguments people were making, but oh my gosh. And it just kind of got me on this thing this morning that is like, so much of what we see of what gets the attention online is because people are upset or want to argue about something, and so you just reap in the engagement. Every time that I try taking advantage of that on, like, say, TikTok, it doesn't get me anywhere. I don't know what the deal is. But that one in particular, there's 920 comments on this one about the lady that doesn't want to take her mom's baby. That's so messed up. You should take the baby. Jamie Jeffries, just take the baby. Stop being selfish, bitch. I shouldn't swear. Stop being a selfish witch. Back to 16, though. They're above 16. And I didn't see... Oh, man. I wish I had not looked away. Did the big order trade? You know what? Okay, so I am not seeing a shift in the yield curve, but there is a pretty gentle change across the board long in the flows of the treasuries. Seeing the Japanese yen recover a little bit. The yen actually kind of fell a little bit precipitously there for a moment. Seeing the dollar possibly start to reverse. Let's zoom the dollar out there a little bit so we can see. So the dollar reversed, fully reversed their move down. Now that tick was interesting because it was just like all of a sudden the volume came in and filled that offer. It ticked up. It was a strong uptick. I thought it was going to hold, and then somebody sold it and it ticked back down. So that's really interesting, actually. Probably doesn't tell us anything, but it kind of means that maybe we're starting to get a little bit of shoving down here. Oh wow, this one where I was this post that I was complaining about, it got locked. Okay, down tick. Not on significant. It's probably not a significant tick, but yeah, there it ticks back up. And good bid. It's a little flighty, but they are able to get 2,000 to bid at points. So we're still kind of looks even here. I don't think the tea leaves are really telling us too much here other than that they seem to like 16. There's always a lot of trade at 16. Right? $33.59, but they take it offer. Strong offer at 16 now, 2,000 on there. The bid's not shying away either, though. 5-year down ticked. S&P 500, I'm kind of starting to get vibes coming from over there. Maybe they're going to go up for highs again. Now, it looks like I'm getting bearish movement here again in the Treasury. So I thought, because we had been starting to get some long flows, I thought maybe we could start to see that shift and turn back up. Then, saw a little bit of a fight at 16 and now 2 ticks lower. So I don't know if that's like super significant, but that is a break in the flow. That's not, if you want the treasuries to go up, it's not very favorable. May just be a blip, but now oil's in an interesting spot. They're actually relatively volatile here, and we are going to get in 15 minutes the oil report. So So I've seen 15.5 go bid a few times, but it keeps going back and forth, and I keep seeing offers placed on it too, so. And that bid did not hold at 15. Biden is speaking right now, huh? Oh, hold up. Okay, so earlier you were, Uzi was saying something about a debate. I just heard that it's June 27th. $30K hit into 15.5. I mean, there was a lot of volume in this area. So it kind of looks to me like we're like in liquidity hole city. Like there is a liquidity hole at 16, but there's probably like this whole range here. And, there is a possibility that some buying comes back and that they magnet back up to like the 20, but it's just not happening, right? The volume over the last like 5 minutes has been flat, and they've just sunk back into the hole. I'm also still seeing relatively healthy trade in here, even though like the net difference is flat. Like that uptick, that was a pretty healthy uptick. Okay, so the 10-year is kind of recovering a little bit here. Oh wow, that's interesting. That was some really aggressive bidding up buying up into 16. But the 30-year doesn't seem to be coming along with it here. They're still kind of stuck in this 21, 22 thing. Let's see if we can get the 30-year to tick up, and then that might kind of shift things around a little bit. Some of that buying just now, though, was way aggressive, right? They bought the 16 and like immediately like some 700s hit into 16.5 as well. Stops or just saw a really aggressive buyer, I don't know, but that was more aggressive flow than we've seen anywhere else through here. The issue still is the 30-year not wanting to tick up though. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of DOM activity here. I'm seeing that stack at 16.5 switch between 2000 and 0 really quickly. It looks like they're going to trade an iceberg here, maybe. You think that Trump debating Biden is going to wind up a blunder for Trump? I don't know. I guess from the perspective that right now Donald Trump is winning and has all of the momentum, injecting the debates is kind of like a really big change and is probably disadvantages the leader. So it probably is like, you know, a risk for Trump that he doesn't need to take, you know? But at the same time, like, you always have to have debates anyways. So it's a risk that was probably going to happen anyways. And doing it on CNN with hostile moderators. Oh, I don't know about that part, because, you know, the moderators being hostile and Donald Trump weathering it is when Trump is at his best, you know? Yeah, they had a good uptick at 16.5 too. Didn't hold, but still the 30 years still kind of. There's the kind of like, I don't feel like it. Ah, there we go. Oh, nope, maybe not. I was like, are they gonna hit 25 in the 30 year? Not yet, it seems. But we're getting some pretty good solid flow along. And in fact, that brings the 10-year up to new high in cumulative delta. So that's kind of curious. We are starting to get those long flows that I've kind of been looking for the whole time. But it kind of is looking like it's a battle every tick, you know? I think back to the debates that Trump and Biden had before. And, you know, they were interesting at the time, but they were not nearly the fireworks that the debates with Hillary were, you know? It was kind of like, I would judge, and granted I'm biased, but I would judge that Donald Trump did win those debates. But it just didn't move the needle at the time, did it? I think that at the time, I still argue, and I don't know, this is maybe just my own hallucination, because I never really saw anybody pick up on it or any data to kind of justify this. But it seemed to me that Donald Trump's attitude about the pandemic was ultimately what killed him. That Americans were concerned about it, and he just refused to speak to that concern, and so he lost that battle, and that ended up being like a really important part of the last election, you know. And so him doing well in the debates didn't help with that particular problem at all. Now the playing field is very different, though, right? Like, a lot of what I'm seeing here, especially with Israel, okay, I think that the best place where you see this is with Israel. Like, never Trump world, like the Republicans that say, I will never vote for Donald Trump no matter what. It is like what's been going on in Israel has just been like a tsunami to the never Trump world, because they're all sitting here going like, look at how awful Joe Biden has been. And you're really going to tell me that Biden is better than Trump? No, heck no. And so you are starting to see a lot of these like really staunch anti-Trump Republicans starting to come around to like, well, I guess we have no choice, sort of a thing, right? The whole argument here is Joe Biden has been so bad, we just need to get him out of here. And so a debate kind of helps Trump make that case, right? His demands, are these Biden's demands? No audience, no RFK Jr., no Trump remarks during Biden's answers. Only Biden-friendly asset outlets and anchors can moderate. Is that for real? Where does that come from? I don't think that they're going to agree to that. I do think that Trump could do a CNN debate, but there are certain moderators that he would not be okay with, for sure. And no Trump remarks during Biden's answers, like cutting the mic off sort of a thing. I don't know if he would agree to that either. But it sounds to me, I guess I'll get more details when we go around and read this. That sounds to me like this is not part of the regular sanction. This is outside of the regular sanctioned debates, and their ergo could have different rules, and they negotiate that sort of a thing. So we'll see. Because the play that I would make if I was Joe Biden is set rules that there's no way that Trump would agree to them, and then when Trump rejects the debate, go, oh, he's afraid to debate me, even though it was because the rules were stupid, right? But people never make that kind of distinction. Okay, I'm still seeing some pretty steady buying, but they're having trouble getting too far from here. The 30-year does look better. Really be in the clear, and the CD, you want to be above 27, right? Oh, here's a story about it. Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hasn't shown up for a debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I don't think that Joe Biden won those debates, but okay. Why would Trump show up for a debate between presidential campaigns? The follow-up post is a doozy. When I get up on stage, it'll be me and this grassroots stream versus Donald Trump and his MAGA minions. Is he really calling his campaign grassroots? My goodness. Okay, I get why this is like such... This is real entertainment in politics, man. Okay. It will be democracy versus authoritarianism, revenge and retribution versus a vision for our future. And he's trying to fundraise off of it. Yada, yada. Yeah. So this is twitchy. The guy who was using lawfare to go after his political opponent is talking about revenge and retribution. That's adorable. The guy who's trying to get RFK Jr. thrown off the ballot talking about democracy is even more adorable. And what's grassroots teams? Obama holdovers? Haha. This is a 14-second. Yeah, there's 5 cuts. Yeah, that's funny. And then that's the end of the... Oh, wait, there's more. Hopefully the debate stage doesn't have too many steps or you won't make it up there. Oh, man. There's a little bit of resistance at 18. I'm not actually seeing like orders clash into it, though. It's just like the buying is kind of subsided there. Whoever told Joe this was a good idea badly misled him. Trump left him a perfect excuse to refuse to debate by refusing to debate in the primary. They should have taken it. The gamble you make is that expectations will be low, but if he can't beat those low expectations, whoo boy. Probably stocking Adderall, y'all. So 1747 has gone into 18. It is still pretty strong. Buyers seem to be in control of 17.5 though. It pulls. Okay. Come on. Trade it. Really? Really? You're not going to hit 18.5? There we go. Oil is rising after the gas report or the oil report. Remember, Barry, the laptop is fake. Yeah, did you see all this stuff going on about so forget about the laptop. Remember this whole thing about the diary from his daughter or granddaughter or something like that. Basically says that Joe Biden was inappropriate, and they're like, no, that's all false, but there was stolen property, so now it's basically like, okay, they've prosecuted on it. It was hers. I'm surprised I don't hear about that more often. I'm not going to say that Joe Biden is a pedo or anything like that, but it's very clear to me that he is inappropriate. He's the creepy old man for sure. Hey, Bolifex, I was worried you weren't going to be here today. How you been? Well, we still get you for 30 minutes. We appreciate it. They're not able to keep that 18. But I think that we've been there long enough. I can like reset my DOM at the very least. You know what? I'm going to say I don't think I can take a position on whether this a debate is going to be good for Trump or Biden. I am very surprised that Biden is making this play. I will say that. But I think that there are just too many unknowns and wild cards and that sort of a thing for me to really try and make a prediction about how it's going to turn out. I wouldn't surprise me in the least that the default option that, it doesn't have a objectively positive benefit or negative benefit for either candidate, that it does kind of shift the race, particularly narratively, but that it will be too difficult for us to determine like who was really good or bad for. It'll probably be really, really nuanced. Just like the debates in 2020 where I kind of thought Joe Biden would struggle in the debates and he was able to hold against Donald Trump. I don't think that he won those debates, but it wasn't a disaster for him. Well, I'm not sure about this. This let's say, fairly gentle rise that we've had has been about 40,000 contracts. So that's a lot of contracts for what has been basically an 8-tick move, and I can't even get a basis point off of it. Like, okay. Let's see here. Oh, wow. You made $600 on an oil? That's good, especially with as much as oil has moved. Like, there's, plenty of room to make mistakes in oil today, huh? Yeah, oil terrifies me still. Okay, 18.5 goes bid again. Oh, but it doesn't hold. A little bit of fight there. A little bit of fight there. Okay, so that whole time, I did not say anything about my position. I tried really hard to not, because normally it's like I take it, and then after I've taken it further, then I start saying, well, I took this because of this, and that, and the other. And this time I was like, no, we're just not going to say anything until afterwards. I made $10. Pretty happy with that. It does kind of look like they could go further, in that maybe taking my profit there was a little bit premature, perhaps. So just remember 1366 was where I took it. Now I'm doing that because this has kind of been a slow grind, and I wanted to see it come back to like that volume node right there. So who knows? Maybe they could get back up to 22. That wouldn't be unreasonable, and it could even go like breach highs of the day. Although I think that's substantially less likely. And the reason I took the trade was because I did see flows coming in long. The cost basis now. Oh, what is it right now? What's the cost basis now? The cost basis has moved up to 13.5. Good morning, Obsidian Futures. How are you doing? So if I come back to the charts, I'll try and explain the trade. So we had this huge jump. I'm looking at all of this. It's confusing. Doesn't seem right. The flattening doesn't seem right. And then we got this area right here. When I saw that area right there, so I'm like, okay, there's a little bit of pushback. And what am I seeing in the volume? It's long. Decent amount long as well. And, just kind of reading the tea leaves and the play-by-play. I mean, I gave the play-by-play on it. You could kind of see that the buyer, it did seem like that the buyers had control, right? So that's why I chose to get in. I was able to make $10 off of it. It having been almost a week since I've taken the live trade, I think I'm happy to make $10. Yeah. What time do you live? So I start the live stream at the same time that the Treasury pit session starts, which is at 8:20 Eastern time. Sometimes I'm a little bit later than that. It's like 8:30, but anyways. So we go from about 8:20 Eastern time to 11 o'clock Eastern time. So the top of the hour. And then, by the way, I haven't even mentioned we're going to be on a Ninja Traders live stream today. So right after this, you can head on over to Ninja Traders YouTube channel, and we'll do a quick 30-minute interview over there and talk about this. Yeah, that's today. They scheduled 3 with me, and this will be the 3rd one. So it would be interesting. Next time I'll tell them like the day before. Because I feel like I had some pretty good inkling about what the numbers were going to be this time. But, being able to see, like, interpret what has happened since then is pretty important. Dude, you know what? It's kind of pulling back already. I'm actually surprised. I thought that they were going to go much further through me. Now I'm kind of, like, glad that I took the profit where I did. No. We were, let's see here. There was the Wednesday and then when we had non-farms. So like a week ago. Are you going to talk about RSI or no? No technicals. I will try and, point out these things like what's going on with the spreads, what's going on with the dollar, that sort of thing. Again, I'm really cagey with the cost basis because we just don't have a lot of research to tell us what it really does. It sure seems awfully prescient sometimes, though, right? It does kind of seem to me like that we came short of that in this time. Like this looks to me like my reading of it was, okay, the numbers came out, it was a light number, there was some market knee-jerk reaction to it, but the knee-jerk reaction to it was probably larger than what the data actually implies. I think that we were all kind of assuming like this number will make or break the markets, and then after the number came out and everybody started looking at it, and like Nick Timmerose, he talked about it, we've had like 3 bad CPI reports. So having one CPI report that's good / mostly in line does not cancel that out. So this number doesn't actually mean that much, and that was probably why you saw pretty considerable pullback. But clearly there was still some of those large institutional buyers that wanted to buy it at some point. They really bided their time and waited to get into it. So you mean stock market, Steve? You mean scumbag, Steve? No, I haven't done that in a long time. I don't know. Do you think that I gave up on the comedy too quickly? Because I was kind of my conclusion after all of that, hosting every day for a couple of months and everything, was that I'm just not that funny. Like me trying to be funny, me trying to do comedy is just too highbrow for most people to get. It's not like, oh, I'm so smart and above. No, it's just that like what I'm talking about is so esoteric. Like it's funny to me. Maybe it's funny to you guys, but like the average person, it's just not their area of expertise, I need to spend more time trying to explain to people like the basics of these things, what are going on like TikTok and YouTube shorts. Because, you guys get me during the live stream, right? So when I say the same sorts of things on a TikTok, it's not really helping anybody because the audience that stuff is for is already here, You just need to go full bar, like so much blatantly bad financial advice that it would hype people up like it's some new finance. But that's totally what I was trying to do, though. Like, that was the thing, is like, the way that I did it was I basically said, okay, what's the worst trade in the market right now? What's the thing that everybody's getting into that, like, I think is going to reverse, like, immediately, right? I actually was pretty good at calling that. I was kind of like, if you traded against stock market Steve, you probably did pretty good. That was my goal. And I tried to say every bad, stupid thing you possibly could to make it so obvious to everybody that, you know, it was a parody. But like the comments and everything suggested to me that people didn't understand it was a parody. So like, back to 18. When I see that, you know, I'm always like a little bit paranoid, like they're watching me and they're trying to trade against me and everything. You know, I had been waiting a long time for that last little bit of volume to come through and for them to pop through and fill me there. And now afterwards, and it came back and I'm like, oh, thank you, market maker. You saw, you know, let's let Seth have a small win. We can let him have a small win today. You let it come up. Okay. So let's try and game this out. If I was gonna make a TikTok today, what are like the basic things that I would want to talk about that would interest people? Because I could come in and I could be like, well, today we had the CPI report, and this is what the CPI report is. But I feel like there's a lot of people already doing that, and so then I kind of feel like not helping anybody. No, but maybe it is. I don't know. I have to think about it. I should try it. I don't know. Actually, let's pop up here on my phone. Because I did make a TikTok yesterday because the GameStop thing was just driving me crazy. See how that video did. I bet that we probably should be able to get at least like 500 views on it, maybe. Okay. No. There were 30 halts. There's no rule. They don't halt it when you're... No, there is a rule, dude. It's the circuit breaker. Just look it up. Yeah, got about 556 views. Yeah, maybe if there was no hints at all to the point that even guys in the live stream started to question what it was. Yeah. Well, but that was the other thing, is that it just wasn't getting views. I don't know. So I have kind of been on a TikTok vacation. Part of it is because I don't really like TikTok. Like, I like TikTok like what it is. Like micro content and the community that they've been able to build around it, and the whole, like, what do you call it, like metagame around all of that's great. It's just that, like, it's owned by China. It seems like that they do kind of pick and choose what they want to go trending and what they don't. And I think that ultimately we need to get TikTok, but like owned by Twitter, for instance. Like if TikTok was owned by Twitter, then that would be freaking great, and I'd be all on board, right? Or even YouTube. YouTube has been good at treating their creators overall. It's not perfect. Oh, this is far from perfect. I have lots of beefs with YouTube, but they're the best of them out there. So part of it was that. Part of it was that it was just like I was posting on it every day, and it didn't really seem to be moving the needle. And part of it was that well, let me say more on that. It was like, you know, I would post a video and it would never get past like the 200 views that it gives you anyways. So, and even the videos that seem to do really, really well just did not. Like this one, 500 views. You know, it's just like they don't blow up. They don't get thousands of views like they used to for whatever reason. And then the other thing was that, you know, I need like quiet times to actually record so that you don't hear children screaming in the background. And I wasn't getting those times anymore. So there's still screaming children in the background. So I don't know if I can really completely come out of TikTok hibernation. Mm. So on the Ninja Trader, you need to just pass the message you have here. What CPI can give us about the institutional flows? Yeah, definitely. And that's a different audience, right? That's also why, you know, I do want to try and highlight some of these pieces of information that, you know, like the dollar index and so forth. Those are really important. And what happened here today is going to be an important, you know, even though like the data point is kind of being met with a little bit of a meh, like it's actually not that important sort of a thing. I think it does set the stage for the summer, right? So, and what stage does that set? Probably lower volatility. Probably not going to be a very good trading this summer. But we'll see. I've always, so many times where we've said that and then it ended up being great for the summer. Last summer was just fine, wasn't it? Add the GameStop circuit breaker rant for the alg, right? I will like honestly, it triggers me. It does. What triggers me is that everybody is talking like that the circuit breakers are being tripped, or you know, that the hedge funds are sitting there on the phone being like, okay, halt it. Or that the government is sitting there on the phone, okay, now you need to halt it. And it's absolutely, it's a rule of the exchange. Let me tell you something. Spreading misinformation about the market, because there's too many people out there saying this stuff that have to know better, okay? Saying things about the way that the market works, or what is going on, or what's possibly going on that you know to be false in a way that induces people to take trades, make transactions that they otherwise wouldn't, that is market manipulation, okay? Buying and selling something, that's not market manipulation, that's trading. But when you start lying to people to try and get them to trade, that's market, and I'm seeing it everywhere with this GameStop thing. It's not the hedge funds that are spreading the lies and misinformation. They're not saying squat. It's all these people online. And pretty much every thread that I look at is just misinformation everywhere, man. It's crazy. For sure. Rage, but it's rage engagement, right? It's just like, people aren't going to like that. Nobody wants to hear that. And that's the truth. Okay, with that, well, I got another minute, but I think it's about time for us to get going. I can prepare for that. So, I will see you guys tomorrow, Thursday. Will be interesting to see how the market trades tomorrow after all of this. And if this completely, you know, maybe overnight they retrace this or something. Who knows? Let's see. Anyways, tomorrow. Well, I'll see you. If you're there on the Ninja Trader stream, say hi in the chat, because their chat is a little quiet. You know, it's okay that their stream is run a little bit differently, and so people don't see necessarily the need to talk because they got an interviewer and it's mostly about the interaction there. But I would still like to see you guys. So if you're there, drop a message in chat, say hi on the Ninja Trader stream. So I'll see you there in 5 minutes. In the meantime, stay excellent.